Kurt Roskoff, and I'm pleased to be included in the Natural Health Collaborative and have great people like Mary Lummerding here. And so Mary is a cooking instructor, a consultant at Kitchen Times. So in my time with Mary and her passion about the kitchen is, the location of the kitchen is part of what matters to Mary, that there's something to spending that time together. And I don't know, with everybody's experience out there, if you've ever been to a house party, it tends to be that the host of the party is trying to take care of all the hospitality in the kitchen. So all the guests tend to be not too far from the kitchen, as you're being entertained at a house party. So this culture in the kitchen is definitely a hot button and a great way to practice what we're sharing at the Natural Health Collaborative. And Mary's passionate about it as a chef and looking to teach us. And Mary feels very, very resolved and accomplished when what she does gets people in the kitchen, and everything at the Natural Health Collaborative is at play because we're using all the right ingredients and we're staying away from some of the stuff, the processed foods. And, there's a lot of guidelines that Mary uses in terms of what to push aside, what to leave at the grocery store, or the marketplace, and what to bring into the house in the first place. So Mary, let's dive in a little bit and let's start out with your passion. You've lived a life where you built up these values and you've reached a moment where in business we say find a need and fill it. Can you bring us back to when you first recognized the need to do what you're doing? And how did you first from day one get set up to fill this need that we all need a little of your help in making the time in the kitchen more fun, rewarding, and that we do it more because we're so busy. You create ways that no matter how busy we think we are, you make it that we can do it. But how did that all start with you on day one? What did that look like?
Well, it started sort of in the middle of it is working with my son. My son has attention deficit hyperactivity. And it's very hard to, spend time with him that much. So he liked being in the kitchen with me, and I taught him how to work safely with the knives. So we would learn to cook together. And he would stand on a little stool so that he could reach the counter. He was, I guess, about 4 or 5 years old, and he could barely reach the counter, but he liked to chop vegetables. And I gave him a small knife. It wasn't one of the child knives. It was a real knife. You teach him how to use it safely. And we just developed cooking together. And that was our time. Because with the attention deficit, the parallel work, he could do his thing over there, chopping, and I could be doing the cooking. And then we would talk about his day and how things were going. And basically that's how it started, was just working with him. And when I was growing up, my mom had a family of 5 kids, and she didn't like cooking every day. So I developed that way of thinking, cooking is a chore. And as I got older, it was just like, well, I got to find ways to enjoy this. So, and also I was a professional cook for 10 years. I took my chef's training and in Toronto for 2 years. And then I worked professionally. And so cooking is easy. I just don't want to do it. So I figured out ways to make it easier. And, I have one video on the internet that it's a 10-minute dinner. And it's just chopping vegetables, put on some cooked chicken and a bit of salad dressing. And then you have a dinner. And if you want a bit more, you can add some bread or something. But I eat very simply. It's not, you may see that in a restaurant, but it's not a restaurant style meal. But so the cooking coach, it just came to my awareness that there's generations out there that don't know how to cook. They grew up, their parents took them to fast food restaurants all the time, and they just don't know how to cook at all. And so where do they start? You take a cooking class and you're given a pile of recipes to do, And you go home and you don't have the ingredients, you don't necessarily have the skill, um, you don't have the tools that you need. So if you don't have your kitchen set up, then those recipes are not much good. They'll just end up on the shelf and you go out to eat again. So that's what I like to help people do, is get their kitchen organized and figure out how cooking works into the routine and how to make it enjoyable.
So Mary, do you see anything in terms of, I've been in conversations like with families,
Mm-hmm.
I've had input that part of an issue can be that we've got a lot of families out there that actually don't eat together. The shared meals, like,
Yes.
every family member just goes in the refrigerator, goes in the freezer, goes in the pantry, and just kind of does their own thing. And so to me, you and I haven't talked about this side of it yet, but you've talked about the magic of the kitchen. But part of it is also at the kitchen table. We need to make sure that we are building from a culture where the family members are around the table, and it is a nice prepared meal, and that we do at least take a half of an hour or 45 minutes, whatever we can do as a mealtime. Do you
Mm-hmm.
see that that's part of the struggle too? That we can't assume that that's happening these days?
Well, I think it's up to the parents to recognize that there is a disconnect with the kids. And if they want the connection, then it starts with preparing the food together in the kitchen, but also having a nice table set up, like, not having it all cluttered with stuff. And what I'm thinking is, get a beautiful bouquet of flowers, get some, a vase with flowers, and make it a pleasurable experience, first of all. And just lay down the rule, pick a night that people are most likely to be available, that they don't have other sports or music or other events going on, and just pick a night and say, this is family night. And of course, no phones, which I know is a struggle, but the phones go away for everybody. Turn them off, put them in your pocket, put them someplace, and put on some nice music. I always tell people, cook with music, play music when you're eating, in different kinds, like relaxing music when you're eating. We play old blues music when we're having our dinner, and just make it a pleasurable event so that people look forward to having dinner together. And giving the kids a choice, like let the child pick what they're having for dinner, within reason, of course. you know, some people will think, oh yeah, I'll get them, but if they pick something like chocolate bars, then make a special dessert with the chocolate bars. Like, you can make a banana split type of thing. So take a banana with some good vanilla ice cream, and figure out how to make a chocolate sauce. Put the chocolate into a little dish with a little bit of milk or cream, and melt it in the microwave. It only takes like 15 seconds. You stir it up and put it in a bit longer. And then you make a beautiful dessert, and if you have some mint leaves or something, you can decorate them. Or some, like Cindy would like, is to put some flower petals on them and decorate make it, excuse me, excuse me. So so they get their chocolate for dinner, but they get it as a chocolate sauce on a sundae with a banana. So they've got their fruit, they've got the dairy with the ice cream, or what gelada if you don't have dairy, and then and the chocolate sauce on top. So yeah, they can have their chocolate bar for dinner. You just modify it so that it's a little bit healthier. So it's
There
it's
you go.
it's being creative too and having fun with it.
Yeah, some people talk about, having that right relationship with food. And, many people say even in how you ingest food, like some people maybe don't even chew food enough because they're more just, putting food down their gullet because they got hunger in their belly. So they're just trying to get it down there so they're not hungry. And then they go race off, or they go moseying around, and we're just really not, focused on the meal experience. Do you find that that's part of the complete experience, that it's not just the food prep and putting it on the table and having the time together to make sure everybody's just really, like some people say, put the fork down, like
Yes.
instead of just sitting there shoveling it in, put the fork down, just really enjoy the food. And then once your mouth is clear and ready for the next bite, and make it part of the visiting too around the kitchen table, right?
That's true. I'm still working on my husband, and as you can see, we're not spring chickens, but I do, and I see him now, like putting his fork down and chewing his food and having conversation. Yeah, it's a part of relaxing while you eat, so that your system has the ability to digest your food, and you're not
Yeah,
stressed out.
and I think what I'm building up to is kind of in my mind, I think that part of it builds up like, as we're doing our work here at the Natural Health Collaborative, I always like to give a shout out to our gardening grandma, that
Oh
garden piece
yes.
of it. And, but I think how you enjoy your food gets you to that point where it matters what's on your fork, what's on your spoon. That
Yes.
matters more because you're making the eating part of it something where you're more conscious of like biofeedback and the enjoyment. And so when you talked about we talked about having more salads, like garden salads, or
Mm-hmm.
have more of that in your food and more of a vegetable based diet, type of thing. It all ties together. You got to go right from what you're ending up with matters in your experience. That once you sit down and you're full and you have time to do dishes, it's like how that finishes up drives where I'm going to go next, is to talk about, the food you bring into the house. And you talked about having, members of the family help in food preparation. But what
Mm-hmm.
about the grocery lists and the farmers market and stuff like that to go and get the food together? What do you think about that?
Yeah. One of the basic things I do is having a virtual list, whether it's on your phone or attached to the fridge. So if you're running low on something, or you decide that you want to eat something different the next week, then you put it on that list. Take that with you to the grocery store, so that when you're in the store, you know what you're going to buy, so that you can have the supplies. You can have your shelves well stocked. I'm blanking out. um,
Yeah, so we're talking about grocery shopping, farmers
oh yes,
market,
the farmers market.
getting
Yes, and even at the farmers market, they tend to sell things, that vegetables that people are used to seeing, like the regular cucumbers. We're seeing the short ones more often now. It used to just be the long English ones or the regular ones. But if you're able to grow your own vegetables, like Elizabeth Dufresne talks about the community gardens, if you don't have the space at home, and grow vegetables, and you can get the catalogs from like Vessie's or Johnny's, and find the different kinds of vegetables. So you can get like apple cucumbers that are shaped like an apple, or lemon cucumbers that are like a lemon, and they're a little bit different flavor. You can grow your own salad greens. You can grow them in flats. You can use the plastic clamshells that you get with your vegetables, save those and grow and fill them with a little bit of dirt, put some seeds in, and you can grow your own salad greens. And then you're harvesting the amount that you need for that day, instead of buying a big package and trying to make it work all week. It's much fresher, it's natural, and it's a lot cheaper actually. You can buy like a package of seeds for $3 to $5, and you'll end up with $20 or more of salad greens. And you can just use a clamshell and a little bag of dirt and little package of seeds, and you can grow your own salad greens. And then Cindy wants you to grow flowers that you can eat. So that's calendula and apparently brown-eyed Susans and nasturtiums. Nasturtiums are really good. And also the flowers that are on the herbs are good to eat. And they also make your dish look really pretty.
There you go. So Mary, we're addressing, the habits people have and how people eat and, the temptation and practice of buying prepared foods, manufactured foods, processed foods, things like that. And so habits are pretty, extremely, very extreme force in our lives. So when somebody has a habit, maybe was taught it growing up. And like you say, if this has been a practice of decades, kind of in the field you do, like being a chef and everything we've talked about so far, talk about the transition, maybe transformative process going from practices that aren't serving a person well.
Mhm.
In what you do, how do you help people kind of come to that self identification, that self inspection to say, oh, okay, you know what, Mary, you helped me understand that I do need to change what I eat. And I do see that I'm missing it, having my children in the kitchen at the time and yeah,
Mhm.
the stuff that you're practicing. Talk to us about the life changes that you're helping people with. Speak to how that
Yeah.
happens with how you help us.
Well, we start with why. Why do they want to start cooking? Quite often it's health. They have some health issues that they need to deal with, and it's being recommended that they eat differently. They need to address, the amount of salt in their diet and processed foods. And from the why, we look at their schedule, because if they have some pockets of time earlier in the week or earlier in a particular day, then we can use those pockets of time for food preparation, such as using a slow cooker and having the meal prepared in the morning. And then when it's time to have dinner, it's all ready. You just take off the lid and there's your meal. You can make really good stews or like chili and just have them simmer all day. And actually, it makes the house smell really good. So if people are coming home after work or after school and the slow cooker has been on all day, they'll just go, oh, dinner, and they'll start looking forward for those meals. So it's looking at your schedule and fitting cooking into it. If you have like vegetables to chop and you have a few minutes during the day, you just seize that 5 or 10 minutes and chop up your onions and celery and carrots, put them back in the fridge, and then when you go to cook, they're all ready to go. And then you can make dinner, easily within half an hour, depending on what you're preparing. But it's much easier if the vegetables are already prepared. And then I look at what they like to eat. If they were in a restaurant, what are they ordering, and how we can find some easy enough recipes for them to prepare those at home. And sometimes it's substituting different kinds of ingredients. Like there's so many different kinds of noodles. If your recipe has chow mein noodles and you don't have those kind of noodles on the shelf, what do you have that you can use? It could be rice, it could be other kinds of noodles. So it's knowing how to substitute ingredients. And so your why, it's your timing, it's what do you want to make, and setting aside some time for planning, because you have to look at your schedule and where that cooking is going to fit in. Otherwise, it's very easy to let it slip and stop doing the cooking and go back to the eating out. And if that happens, then you just set aside some time. And maybe it's a matter of finding different recipes, different things to make so that you can get back to cooking. It is a matter of maintaining that impetus to cook, because it does get boring and it does get frustrating, and you have to find ways to keep yourself motivated. And that's how I work with people. It's a way of keeping them motivated so that they continue doing it, and it gets easier and more fun.
Wow. Yeah, Mary, I got to tell you, I'm so happy that through the Natural Health Collaborative that I've been able to be introduced to you and
Yes.
to how this is, heart work that you do. You have this in your heart to to do this and to share this. And,
Mhm.
you're so right that we out here, and I say we because I'm included, I benefited from, I mean, the time you and I have spent together, we're just kind of getting started, acquainted, and whatever, and you've already made an impact with me. I've talked to many people. I'm in the networking field. The folks at Natural Health Collaborative know me and a lot of time. And this is what I would say. It is important to keep talking about this because it takes a person taking ownership to the possibility, to the shift before it happens. So now, as much as you've got it in my brain, is my brain going to put my hands, like the stuff that I put on my plate, is it going to be more to what you're talking about? Because I can stand to make shifts to what you're talking about. What my wife and I do with our daughter, we can implement what you and I have already talked about.
Mhm.
I tried to, as we talked here, cover it from different angles. I tried to give it a little different twists and turns, but I just want to check in with you. Is there anything in terms of the grand scheme of what you do that I missed that you want to add on, or did I really give it a 360 view that you think you really gave a sample of what you all do? What do you think?
Well, I'd just like to include that I did produce a book last year. Last August, I released my book, and it's called Kitchen Chaos to Culinary Bliss. It's available on Amazon, and this is what it looks like. and and it has a lot of practical information about how to get yourself cooking and keep cooking, and why. Just remember the why, because you'll feel so much better sitting down. I don't know, sitting down with a really good salad and a bit of protein is just wonderful. And just enjoy your food. There's, it's orange season right now, and we had a case of oranges, and I've gone through the whole thing, and they're just so good, and you just smell your food, smell the food, hear, crackling or whatever, and make it visually appealing, and just enjoy your time in the kitchen, enjoy food. And if you're struggling to do that, then get in touch with me and we'll figure it out together.
There we go. What a great service. A lot of great thoughts, a journey, and, it's about habits. So it's great that you extensively, have ways that people can keep working on this to get that 30 days of, what the changes they're trying to make. Like when they say you cut sugar out of your diet, do it for 30 days. Then it becomes a more real thing. Same thing with everything you're saying. So, really great, Mary. You're a powerful member of the Natural Health Collaborative, and we're all out here hoping that we really make a difference that lands in people's kitchen and really makes a difference in their family and everybody else that they're with. And like I opened up with the social experience, and you're doing, you have visitors at your house and you're sharing a meal with people that don't live with you, friends that come in, family from other places, because that can be a finicky thing where, your brother and sister living in their own house maybe have different practices than you do. So many things navigate what it is, and it's important health wise in our health profile. A lot of people are out there saying food is medicine, and the idea of lifestyle medicine, you fit into all that, Mary. So it's really great. Anything else that you can give? You gave us your book, but in terms of additional support, that there's things that you've got out there on the internet and so forth, your website. You want to give some other information that people can go and do their own self-study? What do you got with
Yeah.
your website address and stuff like that?
Yeah, my website is easy. It's kitchentimes.org. And I'm also I'm going to be releasing my YouTube in the next month or two. And I have another summit come this weekend, March 22, 23, with the Wise Women Collective. It's this, the theme is flourish, and I'll be talking about flourishing in the cooking. And I've been challenged by the organizer to get her interested in cooking. She says her husband would be very happy if I succeed. And that's my challenge, just to get her interested in cooking. So there's different places. Just look me up on the internet, Mary Lumberding, and you'll find me in different places. So I've done a few podcasts with different people, and I'll get them put together on my YouTube channel. And and release that as well. Thanks.
I was just thinking about that, Mary. What a segue, because that was a thought I put in my head that what we did here right now and with how you do it, Mary, I could see if you enjoy doing this interview stuff, I could see
Mhm.
you in 2025, racking up about 20 interviews about what you and I
Yes.
just talked about.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
thank you for doing it. And thanks for everything you do with your business, your cooking, your chef work, coaching, everything you do with the Natural Health Collaborative. You live quite a life, and thanks for sharing it with us. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up and wish everybody at the Natural Health Collaborative and everybody enjoying the event and all the materials from our collaborative, all the best, and all the best to health and wellness and thrive in 25.
Yep. Thanks, Kurt.
You're welcome.